Well, Manish Tiwari's new book of essays, The Tidings of Troubled Times, has already achieved something quite unusual. In my many years of a political journalist, this would be a panel I'd love to have on television. But obviously, we live, as the Chinese would say, in interesting times. Manish's new book has brought on one stage Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, former minister and in the news and in the headlines these days, Yashwant Sinha, and of course, Manish himself. Yashwantji, I'll start with you with Manish's permission, even though he's the author of the evening. In your opening remarks here, you very smartly ducked any political meaning being attributed to this movement by saying कि राजनीति में दोस्ती तो होनी चाहिए. लेकिन सर कौन मानेगा कि आज आपने ये जो ये फोटो ऑप एक हुआ है यहाँ with Arvind ji on one side and Manish on the other, that this does not send a message to your party. Is Yashwant Sinha now well and truly living dangerously? Sir Mike.
Yashwant Sinha is already in the elder statesman category. Now, therefore, I am like a potato, will fit everywhere.
No, but let's push you deeper on that. You may self-deprecatingly call yourself an elder statesman, but you are still a very senior face of the BJP, and you're sharing a stage with an Aam Aadmi Party chief minister and a Congress leader. Does this, at the very least, indicate your disenchantment and your disappointment, your disillusionment, and your disconnect with the BJP today? Sir Mike.
I said it right in the beginning of my speech, that this is the basic training, Barkha, that I have received in politics. Please don't forget this.
Please leave it there.
You know, my first leader in politics was Chandrasekhar. And he was the finest human being that I have met. Never allowed any personal predilection to come in the way of his relationship with anyone. The then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi arrested him during an emergency. He was in Patiala jail for 19 months. Anyone would be bitter. But I noticed that he had no bitterness in him. And when the accident of that aircraft in which the late Sanjay Gandhi was killed, that met with an accident. He was the first to reach the Lohia hospital to commiserate with Mrs. Gandhi. Now, these are facts which are history now today, and these forgotten facts must be remembered. That no, we will meet. I will meet Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. I will meet Manish Tiwari. I will meet people from across the political spectrum without any reservations, because if I believe in something, I will not feel compromised because I'm.
Are you worried that this is not going to please your party? It's already not happy with you, with your very scathing comments on the economy, on the finance minister. Now you're sitting with somebody who's always drawing blood with them, Mr. Kejriwal. Manish is not exactly a fan of the BJP. As a senior statesman, even if we give you that avatar of the BJP, Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah will not be happy that you're on the stage this evening, sir, are you?
What did I say there? Or from there? I said, I'm past caring.
You're past caring, even if your party takes action against you.
That will be the best day of my life.
I have to reconfirm what you just said. I mean, did we hear this right? You said, Yashwantji, that if the BJP takes action against you, it will be the best day of your life. You said that. Why do you feel that? How did it come to this point?
No, because for the simple reason that I don't think I'm doing anything which calls for action. You know, again going back to Chandrasekharji, we were in a political party together. George Fernandez was a very important member and leader of that political party. I remember some state elections where he broke from the party line, George Fernandez, and said he will go and canvass for candidates belonging to another political party with which we were in contest. And Chandrasekharji did not take any action against George Fernandez. He continued to be a member. Political parties are voluntary organizations. I did not enter government service when I joined a political party. And therefore, you can't say that taking disciplinary action is the only way out. A political worker is created after a lot of hard work by the leaders of a political party. And if they get rid of a political worker, it should be a sad day for them, not for that worker.
So you don't care if that were to happen. Arvind, if I can get you into, if you can just pick up one of the mics there. Arvind, if I can get you into this conversation, you've been lying low for a while. What was it about Manish that brought you out, or was Mr. Sinha the showstopper today? With no offense to Manish's charisma and star power, but did Yashwant Sinha and the interest in listening to him today and sharing a stage with him, look, we all know, and we're all grown up, and we all know this is a deeply political moment of its own kind unfolding here. What brought you out of your shell? You seem to have been in a shell lately.
मैं उनको सुनने के लिए आया आज.
पर आप भी, अब हम आपको भी सुनना चाहते हैं थोड़ा सा.
मैंने तो बोल दिया जो बोलना था.
आपको नहीं लगता कि ये जो एक मोमेंट है जिसपे एक ही मंच पर यशवंत जी बीजेपी के, आप आम आदमी पार्टी के, मनीष कांग्रेस के, एक साथ बैठे हैं, इसमें एक तरह से एक राजनीतिक सिंबलिज्म देखा जाएगा कि किसी तरह का चर्न ऑन है. हो सकता है उस चर्न का कोई कॉन्सिक्वेंस ना हो, रिजल्ट ना हो, कुछ बड़ा धमाका ना निकले, लेकिन कुछ सिंबलिज्म तो है.
मुझे लगता है चर्निंग स्टेज पे नहीं हो रही है, चर्निंग देश भर में हो रही है. चर्निंग गली गली के अंदर हो रही है. जो जनता दुखी है, जनता के जो जॉब्स जा रहे हैं, धंधे बंद हो रहे हैं, धंधों में मंदी आ रही है, इनकम टैक्स की रेड हो रही है, ईडी की रेड हो रही है, जनता डरी हुई है, चारों तरफ जहर घोला जा रहा है. चर्निंग पूरे देश के अंदर हो रही है. हम लोग बहुत छोटे हैं.
इसको अगर हम किसी तरह से पॉलिटिकल रीअलाइनमेंट की तरह देखें, कांग्रेस और आम आदमी पार्टी की भी नहीं बनती थी, बीजेपी और आम आदमी पार्टी की तो कभी नहीं बनती थी, तो आज हम किस नजरिए से देखें कि आप तीनों इकट्ठे बैठे?
रीअलाइनमेंट नहीं हो रहा, थोड़ा ज़्यादा सोच रहे हैं.
तो क्या हो रहा है? बस मजे?
नहीं, उनकी बुक रिलीज हो रही है.
Okay, let me bring the author in, and then I'll go back to Yashwant ji and Arvind ji. Manish, it's very easy to sit here and criticize the government, but introspection, lessons from your own party. Even Rahul Gandhi, when he went to the United States of America, did speak about how the Congress went through a phase of arrogance. Those were his words, not even the media's. When you attack the government, when Mr. Sinha gets up and talks about democracy and dar don't go together, fear and democracy cannot go together. One of the reasons that governments get emboldened or get power of the kind that maybe previous governments didn't is when opposition collapses. Do you believe that we're in a phase when the political opposition is so weak that is why you're seeing the government as strong as you're seeing it?
I think. Yeah. But you'll have to give me a minute before I answer the question. First of all, to thank all the people who've come out in such large numbers, and my apologies to those who we've not been able to seat. My gratitude profound to Mr. Yashwant Sinha, and he's absolutely correct that this event was planned much before certain developments took place. My thanks to the Chief Minister of Delhi, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, who agreed to come in at a very short notice, and I apologize for not giving you enough time to go through the book, but the book is in itself a political statement.
Yes.
Because it just tells the tale of the last 12 months. Not only events that unfolded in India, but events that unfolded across the world. First let me deal with the question of arrogance. You are absolutely correct. There was a certain degree of arrogance and a certain degree of complacency, which did creep into the UPF movement. And when I listened to some of my colleague spokespersons of the BJP, and I think to myself that, was I then? The one thing which I promised myself at that moment is that given another chance, I will not be there. And so therefore,
So you
yes.
feel that you may have also come across as arrogant?
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's a fair admission to make. And hubris in politics, I think, is the undoing of any political party and any political leader. And the times that we live in are actually times of exaggerated hubris, to put it mildly. Insofar as the collapse of the opposition is concerned, well, I don't think there's a collapse of the opposition. Because when political parties are not able to get their act together, civil society gets its act together. It's Mr. Kejriwal and his colleagues who got their act together against the UPA government when political parties were unable to do that. And in 2014, beginning with the Awad Wapsi, it is civil society which got its act together against the specter of intolerance which had come to characterize the very early days of this government. So therefore, I think at times we live in a situation whereby the civil society leads and political parties follow, and at times political parties lead and the country follows. And we are at a very interesting inflection moment in the history of this country. It's not about the past 40 months and the remaining 20 months of the government. I think there is a deeper churn which is taking place, and I agree with Mr. Kejriwal absolutely. And this churn or this battle is about the soul of India. I think that's what is really unfolding across this country.
So I want to pick up on this word churn, if you can give the mic to Yashwant ji. Yashwant ji, Arvind ji ने बोला कि ये churn सिर्फ यहाँ नहीं हो रही, ये देश में हो रही है, ये गली गली में हो रही है. मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी, क्या आप मानते हैं कि ये चर्न बीजेपी के अंदर हो रही है? और मैं इसलिए पूछती हूँ क्योंकि जब आपने कॉलम लिखा पहले इकोनॉमी पर, ऑन द स्टेट ऑफ द इकोनॉमी, और ये एक तरह से पूरा डिबेट शुरू हुआ, what nobody sure is, do you speak only for yourself or do you speak for others in your party who may share your sentiment but are too scared? जिस डर की आपने बात की, वो डरते हैं आगे आने से.
बरखा, मैंने उसी लेख में ये भी लिखा था कि जो मैं भावना व्यक्त कर रहा हूँ, पार्टी के भीतर बहुत सारे लोग उस भावना से सहमत हैं, लेकिन वो व्यक्त इसलिए नहीं कर रहे हैं क्योंकि उनके अंदर डर है. ये उसमें एक वाक्य है. तो वो आपके सवाल का जवाब है कि देखिए, राजनीति में जो भी किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी में होता है, तो उसमें अगर वो चुनावी राजनीति में होना चाहता है, चुनाव लड़ना चाहता है, तो पहले तो उसको पार्टी से टिकट लेना पड़ेगा. टिकट मिलेगा तब वो चुनाव लड़ेगा. हार जीत का फैसला उसके बाद होगा. ठीक है ना? टिकट ही नहीं मिलेगा तो बात खत्म. यहाँ पे लोग डरते इसलिए हैं कि उनका टिकट ही कटे.
सर, एक और भी डर का कारण है, सबकी फाइलें खोल रखी है मैंने सुना.
हाँ, बाकी और सबके बात, लेकिन जो सबसे बड़ा भय है उनके अंदर वो ये है कि भाई चुनाव से हम लोग 20 महीने दूर हैं, 15 महीने में 16 महीने में उम्मीदवारी तय होगी, उसी में पत्ता साफ हो जाए, तो डरे रहेंगे. वो उल्टे लटकने को भी तैयार होंगे कि भाई टिकट हमारा बचा रहे. ये डर होता है, सारे पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज में होता है, किसी में कुछ ज्यादा, किसी में कुछ कम.
आपने कहा कि you are past caring, even if there is action, though you don't think you've done anything that merits disciplinary action. अगर आती भी है तो आए. But there is one cost here, Yashwant ji, which is a personal cost, and that personal cost is that this debate is now playing out to, and this is maybe the tidings of troubled times, as the father and son battle. The debate is actually playing out on channels and in newspapers as Jayant Sinha versus Yashwant Sinha. You have been personally accused of negotiating for a BRICS Bank chairman job, not having got it and therefore being called frustrated. So ये personal हो गया है, ये पारिवारिक हो गया है. And when I say पारिवारिक, I don't mean the Sangh Parivar, I mean your own family. Does that make you pause? Does that make you say this is not worth it? Not my relationship with my son?
देखिए, ऐसा है कि प्रयास ये हुआ जिस दिन वो लेख मेरा छपा ना, उसके दूसरे ही दिन ये प्रयास हुआ कि ये कहीं ना कहीं उलझ जाए फादर सन के कॉम्प्लिकेशंस में, कि परिवार में ही झगड़ा है, और फादर सन में हो जाएगा तो शायद ये सारी बात जो मुद्दे हमने उठाए हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं दब जाएंगे और सारा मामला उलझ के रह जाएगा फादर सन वाले इशू में। वो चला नहीं, दुर्भाग्य से वो चला ही नहीं। फिर उसके बाद हुआ कि इसको कोई ऐसा इसके ऊपर आरोप लगा दो कि ये उसी में उलझ कर रह जाए, तो उससे उपजा वो ब्रिक्स बैंक वाली बात।
उस पर आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
नहीं, मैंने उसको साफ कहा है कि कोई सवाल ही नहीं पैदा होता है, कभी भी कोई सवाल नहीं पैदा होता है कि मैं उसके लिए कभी कैंडिडेट था। और मैं देश का वित्त मंत्री था, मैं इस देश का विदेश मंत्री रहा हूं। क्या कोई कहेगा कि ब्रिक्स बैंक ऐसी छोटी सी चीज के लिए मैं एप्लीकेशन दूंगा? मतलब ये तो बात समझ में नहीं आती। वो कहते हैं कि भाई यूएन सेक्रेटरी जनरल के लिए उम्मीदवार थे, तो मैं कहता हाँ थे। वर्ल्ड बैंक के चेयरमैन के लिए उम्मीदवार थे, तो हाँ थे। आईएमएफ के मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर के लिए उम्मीदवार थे, तो थे। अबे टुटपुंजिया छिरकुट, तो उसमें उलझाने का प्रयास किया गया, वो भी नहीं चला। आप ये सवाल पूछ रही हैं आज शाम को, लेकिन वो चला ही नहीं। तो वो दोनों अटेम्प्ट फेल हो गए कि इसको फादर सन डिबेट बना दो, इसको उलझा दो पर्सनल इश्यूज में। वो चला नहीं, और वो डिबेट चल पड़ा है। अगर डिबेट नहीं चला होता तो कल शाम को 1.25 घंटा किसी ने भाषण नहीं दिया होता इसमें।
Do you worry about how this may impact your relationship with your son, and how it may impact his political future? एक personal, एक political.
My only, I am assured of one thing. There is no Agra fort in which I can be locked up.
Because, elaborate on that. Elaborate on that. Yashwant ji, elaborate on that. Okay. Arvind, if I can bring you in. Manish ने कहा कि कांग्रेस से गलतियां हुई. Even when he looks at himself through the eyes of the spokespeople today on TV, he wonders, did I also sound like that? इसी तरह ह्यूब्रिस की जब बात होती है, सरकार की ह्यूब्रिस होती है, लेकिन हर नेता की ह्यूब्रिस होती है. Every politician is potentially complacent, potentially in denial, potentially arrogant, because that's what power does. Do you feel that you have also been in a phase of introspection, of reflection? Is that why जिस अरविंद केजरीवाल को हम रोज सुनते थे, उसको हम आजकल सुनते ही नहीं?
आजकल जनता बोल रही है।
पर क्या आपका भी पंजाब के रिजल्ट्स के बाद आपका भी क्या कुछ एक फेज ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन, एक इंट्रोस्पेक्शन का फेज रहा?
इंट्रोस्पेक्शन तो आदमी को हमेशा ही करना चाहिए, रोज करना चाहिए, और सब लोग करते हैं, अपने अपने तरीके से करते हैं। हर इंसान करता है, हम लोग भी करते हैं, पार्टी भी करती है, हम लोग भी करते हैं। लेकिन जैसा मैंने कहा कि जब बोलने की ज़रूरत होगी तब बोलेंगे। पहले भी जब बोलने की ज़रूरत थी तब बोले, बस ये हुआ कि समय से पहले बोल दिए। आज जब सारा देश नोटबंदी को कोस रहा है, मैंने नोटबंदी के दूसरे दिन ही बोल दिया था कि ये बहुत बड़ा घोटाला है। आज सारे देश के लोग बोल रहे हैं कि नोटबंदी
आपने उसको एंटी नेशनल बोला था. You said the biggest, I remember you said it in an interview to me, you said this form of demonetization is anti national.
मैंने बोला था कि ये आज़ाद भारत का सबसे बड़ा घोटाला है. That is the words I used and I still stand by that.
पर उसके बाद भी बीजेपी यूपी का चुनाव जीती और बड़े स्टाइल से जीती है. तो इसमें कहीं ना कहीं आप लोगों को भी मानना पड़ेगा कि कहीं पे आपकी जो ऑपोजिशन की नैरेटिव है उसमें कमी है.
वो क्यों जीती उसके ऊपर काफ़ी मैं बोल चुका हूँ. मैं आज भी, मुझे ये लगता है कि मशीनों का काफ़ी बड़ा खेल हुआ था.
आप अभी भी ये कहते हैं?
अभी भी मानता हूं.
अभी भी ये कहते हैं?
हमने ये
ईवीएम, ये टीवी रेटिंग की तरह है. जब अच्छा हो तो सब कहते हैं कि जेन्युइन है, फेक हो कहते हैं रिग्ड है.
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, क्योंकि ईवीएम टेम्पर की जा सकती है. हमने असेंबली के अंदर ये दिखाया था, हमारे विधायकों ने एक ईवीएम टेम्पर करके दिखाई थी. ईवीएम टेम्पर की जा सकती हैं. पूरे दुनिया के अंदर कई सारी जगहों के एक्सपर्ट्स ने ये दिखाया है कि ईवीएम टेम्पर की जा सकती हैं. तो जस्ट बिकॉज उत्तर प्रदेश का चुनाव वो लोग जीत गए इसलिए नोटबंदी के ऊपर मोहर लग गई, ये कंक्लूजन ड्रॉ करना ठीक नहीं है। आज पूरा देश उस नोटबंदी का और जीएसटी का दोनों की वजह से एक अच्छी खासी चलती हुई इकोनॉमी जो है वो बिल्कुल रुक गई है और जनता उसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस को भुगत रही है।
Manish, one of the things that has been pointed out by supporters of the government, but even by independent analysts, is that the economic burden today was also inherited from the UPA. And I want to ask Yashwantji about it, but I first want to ask you. One of the biggest problems in the economy right now is the overstretched banking sector, the NPAs, the non-performing assets. That was an inheritance of of the Congress to the BJP. तो आज जब आप लोग सब यशवंत सिन्हा की बैंड वैगन पर राइड के लिए पहुंच चुके हैं, forgive me for saying this, but I think in some ways he led the charge and you've all joined Mr. Sinha's bandwagon. Wouldn't you and your party also have to take your share of responsibility for the economic hiccups that India is facing today?
Barkha, since all of you are my guest today, I don't want to don the spokesperson's hat. So therefore, let me fire off the shoulder of my colleague, Mr. Pankaj Pachori. So Pankaj served as communications advisor to Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, and he put out an excellent booklet, right, in the January of 2014, if I recall correctly. And what empirically data established was that over the 10 years, when the UPA was in office, the Indian economy grew at 7.8% year on year for 10 years, notwithstanding the great economic meltdown of 2008, which demolished economies around the world, notwithstanding the Eurozone crisis, which again crippled large parts of Europe. And to answer your question as to whether this is a legacy issue that the NDA BJP government inherited from the UPA, I would only like to refer you to Mr. Mohan Guruswamy's article in today's Economic Times. And Mr. Mohan Guruswamy makes 2 points, that 40% of India's GDP comes from the informal sector, and 90% of India's employment also comes from the informal sector. So therefore, what he calls the black swan moment, the demonetization and the faulty implementation of the GST, in addition to larger macro mismanagement, is the reason why the country finds itself in the situation it is today. And I don't want to make it personal because unlike some people who claim to be holier than thou, but when they are attacked for their performance, they retaliate like stung bees. But the choice of personnel also matter. And I think, with all due respects, the current finance minister is not up to the job.
On the current finance minister, I want to actually take that question to Yashwantji, because Yashwantji, Manish, if you can give him the mic. Yashwantji, many people about your column and your comments have said, kahin pe nighaye, kahin pe nishana. That you wanted to target the Prime Minister, but maybe thoda hichkicha gaya, thoda hesitate kar gaye, Finance Minister was an easier target. How do you respond? Because demonetization is very much something that the Prime Minister put his imprint on. We have to say that. It was very much a decision that had been repeatedly defended, ferociously defended by the Prime Minister. So when you talk only about the Finance Minister, how do you disassociate the Prime Minister from the demonetization decision? And why have you spoken about the Finance Minister but not about the Prime Minister?
You will agree, Barkha, that in the days that have passed since that article of mine appeared, this question would have been asked of me. Many television people came to me and they asked me exactly the question that you are asking me this evening. And my reply to them was that has the finance minister admitted that he was not party to the decision? And for that reason, he will not defend that decision? Where is it an admission that he was not party? If he says today that I was not a party to the decision, then I'll speak about the person who took the decision. But if I am talking about the economy of the country, the first person who will come to my mind, naturally, is the finance minister. And I've said this, I can't attack the home minister, the external affairs minister, the defense minister, because the economy is not doing well.
But does the buck stop? Does the
also-
buck stop with the Prime Minister for demonetization or the Finance Minister?
Let me tell you, Barkha, I have also handled the Ministry of Finance for years. And yes, of course, all important decisions are reported to the Prime Minister, is approval taken. That is done. But the PMO does not run the Ministry of Finance. No, I'm sorry. PMO does not run the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance is run by the Minister for Finance. And if the Minister for Finance is not running the Ministry of Finance, and it's the PMO which is running the Ministry of Finance, then what is he doing there? That is the point which I'd like to make. It's not that I was diverting attention or I was scared of raising issues. The ownership in our democracy is joint. And then there are various ministries. The ministers are answerable to the Parliament of India for their ministries, and this is how the system works.
आपने कहा कि अगर ये एक तरह से जो फादर सन रिफ्ट का नैरेटिव था, अगर वो चला होता, the Prime Minister would not have spent 1.5 hours making a speech on the economy, which is what he just did a day ago. लेकिन उस स्पीच में उन्होंने एक बात रखी और उन्होंने कहा कि यूपीए के टाइम भी बहुत बारी जीडीपी ग्रोथ फिगर्स जो थे वो गिरे थे. He said 8 times and he said they reached much lower figures than what we've seen in this quarter when it's down to 5.7. I want you to pick up on what I asked Manish, that when you critique the state of the economy today, do you allow for the fact that this was a government that did inherit serious legacy problems, in particular the banking mess?
Again, I'll draw your attention to the article which I wrote. I said in one sentence there that the government inherited the legacy issues of stalled projects and bank NPAs.
Yes.
I have said that. Every government which succeeds another government inherits some legacy issues. It's nothing unusual because governance is a continuous process. So every government inherits some legacy issues. But having said that, I would also say that 40 months down the line, it is not open to us to say these are legacy issues. If these are legacy issues and you are hitting the ground running on that day in May 2014, then you should have been able to take care of those issues. Today, we cannot hide behind them, that these are legacy issues. Number two, and this is what I told the media today, that UPA is history, isn't it? Just as the first NDA is history, the people of India have pronounced their judgment on the UPA. And the law of the land will say that you can't punish a person for the same crime twice. So it is not the UPA which will be under scrutiny in the next election. It will be the present government which will be under scrutiny. And they will not be under scrutiny because of comparison with the UPA. We say we did better last 3 years compared to our first 3 years, this, that, and the other. No, we'll be held to account, Barkha, to the promises that we made to the people. Please remember this. I have fought many direct elections, and I know that this is the question that people will ask. That you made this promise, what happened to it? You made this promise, what happened to it? These are questions that a person like me is going to face, because even if I'm not contesting elections, they're going to ask me. Now, I will say that there are some leaders in this country who, for various reasons, including security, will address the audience from a huge, big platform, which is 500 meters removed from where the people are. People like me stand with the people in the villages of this country. And it is not a speech, it's not a one-sided communication. It is a conversation. And in that conversation, we have to ask questions.
You're saying
The
Man Ki,
answer-
you're saying Man Ki Baat is one-sided communication.
A whole lot of things are one-sided communication, including what happened yesterday.
Including what?
And yes, and when the clapping.
You mean the
stopped,
Prime Minister's
when
speech on the
clapping-
economy?
Clapping subsided, the gentleman said, why aren't you clapping as much as you did before?
The Prime Minister used a word, pessimist. It was the rough English translation, but he quoted a character from the Mahabharata, Shalya. That is how you have been cast, Mr. Sinha.
And that's why I told you the story of Shalya. If Duryodhan had not feasted him, he would not have joined the Kauravas.
So you feel betrayed by your party.
I don't feel betrayed by the party. This is as much my party as it is anybody else's. I have given my blood and sweat. I have given my blood and sweat for this party. Don't forget this. And I have worked with the tallest leaders of this party. Tallest leaders of this party. So, this is a passing phase. Such passing phases don't last long. You know, what lasts longer are the values on which a party is built.
What is a passing phase? Please define.
Personalities are passing phase.
So this party where Mr. Modi today, there is no doubt about it, is bigger than the BJP.
Values are more important than personalities, and therefore I will abide by the values in which I have been brought up, and I will not allow personalities to influence my values. About that I'm very clear.
One more question to you, then I want to go to the Chief Minister. The RBI has given figures where it's revised its growth rate forecast, but even by those, the BJP, the government at least, is arguing that in Q4 it's talking about the growth going back to over 7%. Therefore, they will look at you and say you're being alarmist. ये RBI के figures को मैं quote कर रही हूँ, which you've seen.
No, but why don't you read the whole RBI report of yesterday? RBI has said there will be fiscal pressure. RBI has said inflation is rising. It's a concern, and that's why they have not brought down the interest rates. RBI has talked about lack of demand in the economy and the foreign demand represented by export performance. The RBI has talked about private investment. The RBI report talks about every major issue in our economy today. They have not ducked any issue. Just read that report carefully, and you will find that it is in complete contradiction to what the head of the government was saying yesterday. Because yesterday, just a few hours earlier, that report of the RBI had come. I don't know whether the head of government was informed that the RBI said this.
Does the head of government take responsibility for the state of economy or no?
In our system, it is joint responsibility, headed by the head of government.
Arvind, if I can bring you in, यशवंत जी ने कहा कि personality dominated एक जो phase है, ये phase pass होगा. But I feel the world is heading towards personality dominated politics and populism driven politics. ये एक global phenomenon है, since Manish has also made references to what's happening in other countries. आपकी पार्टी में भी कहा जाता है it's a personality dominated party. In the Congress, they're sometimes accused of not pushing or falling back in that sort of personality oriented narrative. Do you feel this is a passing phase, or do you feel कि जो इंडिया की राजनीति है वो बदल गई है और अब वो personality dominated ही रहेगी?
नहीं, पर्सनालिटीज़ इंपॉर्टेंट रोल अदा करते हैं, लोग लीडर की तरफ तो देखते हैं, लेकिन जैसे यशवंत जी ने कहा कि अगर एक लॉन्ग टर्म में वो देखा जाए तो पर्सनालिटीज़ तो आती जाती रहती हैं. हर पार्टी एक आइडियोलॉजी के ऊपर खड़ी होती है. पार्टी का वैल्यू सिस्टम, उसकी आइडियोलॉजीज़ वही उसको ज़िंदा रखती है और उसी के प्रति वर्कर्स और लोग अट्रैक्ट होते हैं. तो डेफिनेटली पर्सनालिटीज़ तो आता जाता फेज़ है, लेकिन किसी भी पार्टी की आइडियोलॉजी और उसका वैल्यू सिस्टम इम्पोर्टेंट है.
Manish, your book is dedicated to the last liberal still standing. I want to push you a little bit on that argument, because to me, as an observer of politics, it seems कि हमारे देश में कोई भी पार्टी 100% liberal नहीं है. या लिबरल वैल्यूज़ को किसी भी पार्टी ने, डिग्रीज का डिफरेंस होता है, कई बारी फेजेस का डिफरेंस होता है. You know, even when we talk about things like, for example, the beef ban or beef politics, there are Congress governments, you have Congress leaders like Digvijay Singh who've actually lined up to take credit and said कि ये तो हमने पहले किया था. So, you know, there is censorship that has of books and movies that has taken place under all governments. So, when you dedicate your book to the last liberal standing, do you sometimes feel frustrated with your own party? Since you're all living dangerously, I may as well get you also into some trouble. Do you sometimes feel frustrated with your own party at the fact that it falls short of truly being liberal?
Well, you said it rightly. Liberalism is a question of degrees. And so, therefore, if the degrees start extending to actually killing and lynching people because of the culinary choices that they have, if it extends to actually policing what kind of clothes a person can wear, if it actually extends to possibly transgressing into people's kitchens and bedrooms, I think the time comes to call it a stop. And when you talk about living dangerously, this is my personal belief that the unanimous verdict that we saw on privacy come out of the Supreme Court of India possibly may not have come had it not been for the times that we were living in. Like, for example, the basic structure doctrine may not really have come had it not been for the times that 1973 was. So, therefore, I think it's important to contextualize everything. And you're correct that every government has its fair share of skeletons. They've censored books, they have banned movies, though I can personally, take some modest credit that during my 18 months as Minister of Information and Broadcasting, not a single book was proscribed, not a single movie was banned. And so, therefore, I think I've been able to carry that mantle fairly well. At least I get an E for effort. But be that as it may, I think ultimately it comes down to a question of degrees. And you have a situation whereby, you know, the needle has gone too much to the right. And that's why the Prime Minister, I do not know whether he was serious or he was paying lip service. I mean, repeatedly had to call out people who are ideologically affiliated, you know, with the larger Sangh Parivar, and say that this is not tolerable. But despite that, things did not get better.
Yashwantji, you have taken a particularly liberal position on the troubled state of Jammu and Kashmir. You have led track 2 delegations there, you have met with the Chief Minister there, you have met with other stakeholders there. You did try and get time with the Prime Minister on it and did not succeed. In an age of hyper-nationalism, how do you keep that space alive for yourself? And do you believe that that space for that Kashmir conversation has totally diminished and shrunk today?
It's not only hyper-nationalism, it's also differential nationalism. If somebody says that na goli se, na gali se, gale lagane se, then it will be hailed as the words of a statesman. If I say, please implement it, I'll be described as a traitor. So it is differential. You know, if the agenda of alliance of the present government in Jammu and Kashmir talks about the Vajpayee line and says Insaniyat, Jamhuriyat, Kashmiriyat, and we'll follow the same path, and I say, please follow the same path, then I'll be branded as a traitor. So, this is the application of the principle of patriotism is what is bothersome. And it's the easiest thing to band around. I am patriotic, you are not. Though I might be saying exactly the same thing as you are saying. This is the age in which we are living. So, what is it that we have said latest? You know, that concerned group of citizens with which I am associated, I have said, please operationalize what you said on the 15th of August, what the Home Minister has said during his visit to Jammu and Kashmir, and what the party has been saying all along, that we'll have a dialogue. Please start the dialogue. Merely words are not enough. The process must begin as soon as possible.
What response did you get from the government to your report?
Nothing so far. I mean, if a dialogue process begins, then I'll be the happiest person.
If the Prime Minister were to call you for a cup of tea today, would you go?
I was told by gurus in politics that don't answer hypothetical questions.
Okay, I think maybe we have time for 5 minutes of questions from the floor if anyone has them. But I just want to get, I want to get Arvind and Manish on a learning of this past year, a personal learning, and then maybe we'll bring it back to Yashwant ji. Arvind, अगर आपने जैसे कहा कि हम तो राजनीति में नए आए हैं. You are India's newest political party. You represent India's newest, youngest political party. You've been, in a sense, learning on the job. अगर आपने कुछ एक चीज पिछले साल में या पिछले कुछ 8 महीनों में कुछ सीखा हो तो वो क्या है?
मैं 2-3 चीज़ें, जैसे एक तो मैंने अभी बोला था कि हमें जब हम राजनीति में आए थे तो हमें ये लगता था कि ये प्रॉब्लम्स ज़रूर बड़ी कॉम्प्लेक्स होंगी और ये क्यों नहीं सॉल्व हो पा रही. 70 साल हो गए, ना शिक्षा सॉल्व हो रही, ना स्वास्थ्य ठीक हो रहा, ना सड़कें बन रही, ना पानी हो रहा, ना बिजली हो रही. क्यों नहीं हो पा रहा? पिछले 2.5 साल के अंदर एक चीज़ जो पता चली है कि ना तो पैसे की कमी थी और ना ही सिस्टम्स कोई बहुत ज़्यादा कॉम्प्लेक्स हैं. ये गलत राजनीति और गंदी राजनीति थी जिसकी वजह से ये नहीं हो पा रहा था. और अगर राजनीति ठीक हो जाए तो बहुत सारी चीज़ों का समाधान निकल सकता है. पैसा भी है, नीयत की कमी. दूसरा एक मुझे ये लगता है कि हम लोगों के जैसे अभी आप बार बार इसे पे कर रहे थे, वो कांग्रेस के हैं, ये बीजेपी के हैं, हम आम आदमी पार्टी के, वो कांग्रेस के हैं, ये बीजेपी के, हम आम आदमी पार्टी के हैं. हम सारे इस देश के हैं. सबसे पहले देश जरूरी है. हम लोग विपक्ष हो सकते हैं, हम लोग दुश्मन नहीं हैं. और विपक्ष के साथ बैठ के समाधान समस्याओं का निकालना ही जमहूरियत है, वही डेमोक्रेसी है.
पर वो राजनीति हमें नजर नहीं आती. मैं इसलिए एम्फसाइज कर रही हूँ क्योंकि जो हमने राजनीति देखी है अरविंद, इंक्लूडिंग योर वेरी फियर्स पब्लिक बैटल्स विद द बीजेपी, उसमें दुश्मनी ही नजर आती थी. उसमें ये नहीं कि भाई हम वैसे दोस्त हो सकते हैं चाहे हमारी आइडियोलॉजी अलग हो.
हमने बहुत कोशिश की है और यही मैं कहने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि पिछले 2-2.5 साल का हमारा एक्सपीरियंस ये है कि एक बार ही अगर कोई सरकार जीत जाए और उसकी सरकार बन जाए, कोई पार्टी जीत जाए, उसकी सरकार बन जाए, उसको काम करने देना चाहिए. रोज़ रोज़ की उसमें अड़चने नहीं अड़ानी चाहिए. ये जनतंत्र नहीं है, ये एंटी नेशनल एक्टिविटी है कि अब सरकार बन गई, अब इनको काम करने दो. 5 साल काम नहीं करेंगे तो जनता भगा देगी. रोज रोज उनके काम में अड़चन अड़ाना वो गंदी राजनीति है जो आज हम लोग झेल रहे हैं दिल्ली के अंदर. कि रोज रोज हर छोटी छोटी चीज़ों के अंदर काम नहीं करने दिया जा रहा. वो ठीक नहीं है, वो गंदी राजनीति है. वो एक तरह से आप दुश्मनी निकाल रहे हो, वो नहीं होना चाहिए.
Manish, learnings of the last year?
Well,
Mr. Sinha made some funny remarks saying that the most dangerous thing today to be a former minister who writes columns. I think he was talking about himself, but it also applies to you, as he pointed out.
Well, I think the biggest learning is that, out of work politicians can have a life out of politics. So therefore, I think that's been the biggest learning of the past 1 year. But on a more serious note, what it allows you to do is get a perspective. And I think that perspective, or what Arvindji referred to as introspection, is very important. And if you do get a little time off, and you can learn from some of those perspectives that occur to you almost naturally, I think you've come up the learning curve. So, as Ram Manohar Lohia used to say, an interval in politics is not necessarily a bad thing.